Have you ever been in a selling situation where it seemed like all signs were a go and that you were moving forward and it seemed like they were into it, and then at some point the prospect says, you know what, I'll just have to get back to you. The question is, what do you do next? What do you say to get around that situation? Because let's face it, that's not a good situation to be in. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you say when the prospect says, I'll get back to you. Check it out. Number one, this is never acceptable. This is the first commitment that you have to make, is that I'll get back to you, where they are going to somehow call you back or they're going to reach back out to you. This is a completely unacceptable outcome in any selling situation. If you find yourself sitting around waiting for your prospects to get back to you, you are never going to make sales. Prospects do not get back to you. This is most of the time an excuse for them to simply get out of the selling situation. So we have to remember that this is never an acceptable outcome. At the very least, it will be us reaching out to them, or it will be some kind of a clear next step. But it is never acceptable that they are going to somehow reach back out to us. That is completely unacceptable. Number two, understand what this means. I've already shared with you a little bit under the kimono of what this likely means, but we have to remember that when a prospect says, I'll get back to you, we have data on this that suggests that the likelihood of them ever reaching back out is like 1 in 100. So that means that chances are you've lost a sale. You're better off dealing with it in that moment than just kicking the can down the road and being like, oh, okay, this is super weak. You have to recognize that this is a moment where you have lost a sale for all intents and purposes. Be firm. Make sure that you're never just accepting that, and you've got to push back in that moment. Number three, understand why they said that. This is where you start to get into some verbal jujitsu, where the prospect says, you know what, I'm going to get back to you. And now this is where, instead of responding with a statement, you want to respond with a question. So you're going to say something like, all right, I appreciate you saying that. Help me understand why you say that. And now you want to get them to at least clarify why they're saying that they want to get back to you. They might be like, oh, well, the timing on this just isn't right. And so, how about I reach back out to you? Now that you've got some clarification, now you understand where you are. And this is where you have to push back, which leads us to number four. Always get a next meeting. The first move is to try to actually schedule a meeting. So you might say something to them like, well, you know what, I really appreciate you saying that, but just to avoid all the back and forth, would it make sense to at least just get something on the calendar so that way we can, avoid the you try me, I try you stuff. Would you be available sometime next week? And now you've set the stage that they are now trying to get something on the calendar. This is really, really important. So always get a next meeting. Number five, get in their calendar. Calling someone back, whether it's them calling you back or you calling them back, is weak sauce. Get in the calendar and do that at all costs. If they are not willing to schedule a next meeting, it means that you're probably in trouble and that they don't want to actually have a next step with you. So get in the calendar and use that as the barometer to understand where they are. And if they push back really hard on that, now you know you're in trouble. Number six, call them out. If they continue to push back and they don't want to get in the calendar, they don't want to schedule the next step, this is where you call them out. You say something like, you know what, George, I've been doing this for a long time. And what I find is that when people want to call me back or they're unwilling to schedule a next step, really what they're saying is that they just don't want to continue the conversation. Let me take all the pressure off here. Is that what's happening? And now they're like, you've called them out in a respectful way, but nonetheless, you've called them out because they were lying to you. They weren't actually intending to call you back. So make sure you call them out if they are unwilling to schedule a next step. Now, one of two things can happen. They're either going to say, yeah, you know what, it's not a fit. This doesn't make sense. And hey, at least you know, and you can continue that conversation. Or on the other hand, they're going to be like, no, I just, I've got a lot going on. And you're like, okay, fair enough. But if we get something in the calendar, we can kind of avoid that back and forth. Do you have your calendar on you? This is a time to be firm. Number seven, be willing to blow up the sale. This is a moment when a prospect says, you know what, I'm going to get back to you. There is a 1 in 100 chance that they're actually going to pick up the phone and call you back in a week. So you might as well just be willing to blow up the sale now as opposed to keeping in your pipeline and just hoping. Because there's a much better chance that by pushing back, you're going to actually salvage the sale as opposed to just letting them follow up with you. Because that's just never gonna happen. So use firm language with them. Again, something like, you know what, I really appreciate you saying that. It sounds like you're really busy and I've got a lot going on as well. And what I find is that if we don't schedule a next step, things tend to fall apart. Do you have your calendar on you right now? Be firm. Keep the sale together, but at all costs, you know what? Be willing to just blow it up, TNT it right now if they are completely unwilling. You know, don't get aggressive, don't get angry, but be willing to hold your ground. So there is exactly what you do when the prospect says, I'll get back to you. And if you enjoyed this video, then I have an awesome free training on the data-driven approach to closing more sales in today's marketplace. Just click right here to get registered instantly. Seriously, just click right here. This is an in-depth training that will help you close more sales at higher prices, all while generating more meetings. Also, if you got some value, please like this video below on YouTube and be sure to subscribe by clicking my face that should be right about here to get access to a new video just like this one each week.